The moment the ship's alarms blared, I knew everything had changed. Red lights bathed the corridor, flickering against polished metal, and the hum of failing engines vibrated through my chest. Smoke curled along the floor as I stumbled into the control room, and there she was. The princess. Her silhouette framed against the viewport, looking out over the fractured expanse of the galaxy. Her eyes turned on me, sharp and unreadable, as if she could see straight into my thoughts. "Your chest is impressive," I blurted out. Immediately, the air shifted. I'd spoken without thinking. My words sounded small, ridiculous, almost laughable in the chaos around us, but her eyes didn't narrow in anger. They widened. And that was what terrified me. But that was only the beginning. I had known fear before, from battlefields on Earth to skirmishes with alien pirates, but nothing had prepared me for this. She wasn't just royalty. She wasn't just an alien. She was a weapon, a living storm, and yet here she was, trembling ever so slightly at my careless comment. The contradiction tore at my instincts. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice soft but edged with something I couldn't place, a challenge, or maybe curiosity. I tried to cover my mistake with a shrug, but the hum of the ship and the distant alarms made my movements awkward. You know. Strength. Form. Combat readiness," I stammered. She tilted her head. One hand lifted, brushing against the railing as though the act of steadying herself could hide her reaction. And then, slowly, deliberately, she smiled. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. What I saw next changed everything. It wasn't the smile that unnerved me, it was the silence that followed. The calmness. The weight of centuries in her gaze, the kind of control that could crush planets and hearts alike. She could have destroyed me, thrown me into the void, or called the entire fleet down on my head. Yet she didn't. "I hope you understand what you've said," she murmured. "Words in my presence carry consequences." The corridor shuddered. The lights flickered. I realized she wasn't speaking metaphorically. Every muscle in her frame radiated power, alien energy pulsing beneath her skin like liquid fire. I stepped back, heart hammering. Wait. This is not what I expected, I thought, the adrenaline of danger mixing with something far more personal. Over the next hours, as we navigated through the failing sections of her starship, I found myself studying her, truly studying her, for the first time. Not as a princess, not as an alien, not as a figure of awe, but as a person. She flinched at sudden movements, despite the centuries of experience she carried. Her hands shook when she adjusted the navigation controls, her lips parted in concentration, and occasionally, she let out a breath that betrayed exhaustion, vulnerability, a humanity I hadn't anticipated. What I saw next changed everything. Her trust wasn't freely given. She had been hunted, betrayed, and revered in equal measure. I was an outsider, a human thrown into her orbit by fate, yet somehow, she allowed me to help her. When the ship's internal temperature dropped, I offered her my jacket, and she hesitated longer than expected. Not for modesty, but because she had never let anyone close. I thought I was prepared for everything, I admitted quietly, as we navigated the ship's labyrinthine corridors together, but I wasn't prepared for you. Her amber eyes met mine. "No one ever is," she said. And for the first time, I saw fear there, not of me, not of the ship, not even of the galaxy, but fear of letting someone in. Our journey reached its critical point near the command deck. The Sithari fleet had tracked her, engines blazing, weapons locked. The tension was unbearable. I realized that not only my life, but hers, and perhaps countless lives, depended on the choices we made in the next few moments. "Do you trust me?" she asked, voice low, carrying the weight of both command and personal plea. I swallowed hard. "I do. Even after my mistake." She gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. "And then we fought. Together." The battle was a blur. Laser fire carved paths through the void. Gravity shuddered and failed in sections. Every decision was a gamble with life or death. And all the while, I noticed her movements, the precision, the grace, the barely restrained fury that made her a legend. My earlier words, the foolish compliment, were trivial in comparison to the reality of her presence. She was terrifying. She was formidable. And she trusted me. By the time the last Sithari hunter fell, silence returned. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, indifferent to the human-alien struggle that had just unfolded. I turned to her. She was bruised, scratched, but alive. Alive with me. I offered my hand. She took it. The simple gesture carried more weight than any weapon. It was a bridge across species, status, and survival. "What now?" she asked softly, leaning against my chest. "Now," I replied, "we see how far trust can take us." She smiled. Not the cold, commanding smile of a galactic empress. Not the guarded expression of a warrior hardened by centuries. But a smile of someone daring to hope, daring to believe that even amidst chaos, connection was possible. Weeks passed. We repaired the ship, navigated uncharted sectors, and avoided patrols. Every night, she would ask again, almost teasingly, "Your chest, impressive?" And every night, I would answer with a grin, "Only if you want a place in my heart." It became a ritual. Not because of flattery, not because of bravado, but because it was real. A connection forged in danger, tempered by respect, and sealed by mutual understanding. In the end, the galaxy remained vast and threatening. Enemies lurked, warships roamed, and betrayal was always a possibility. Yet for the first time, I realized that survival alone was meaningless without someone to survive for and with. And as I held her, feeling the pulse of her alien life against my own, I knew one undeniable truth. In a universe filled with fear and conquest, there was one thing stronger than legend, stronger than power, stronger than any fleet or weapon. A heart willing to trust. And mine had room.